Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my dear students? I hope you all are fine. Welcome to another episode of Telikilaas. My name is Alim Muhammad and I am from Dhaal Atoll Education Center. I am here to deliver a lesson on exchange rate. Today's specific main topic is causes of exchange rate fluctuations. Before starting today's lesson, I would like to highlight what you have already learned in the past two lessons. They are definition of exchange rate, definition of floating and fixed exchange rate, and definition of appreciation and depreciation of exchange rate, and also the illustration of exchange rate using a demand and supply diagram. The learning intention for today's lesson. We are actually learning to analyze the causes of exchange rate fluctuations. We are actually learning to analyze the causes of exchange rate fluctuations. The causes are mainly, we will be discussing about demand for imports and export, speculations, interest rates, departure and entry of MNCs, and inflation rate. So mainly in this lesson, I will be discussing these 5 causes of exchange rate fluctuations. So, how you will be successful? So the success criteria is that you will be successful if you can analyze each of these reasons effectively. That means you should be able to analyze how demand for import and export can influence exchange rate, and how speculation can influence the exchange rate, how interest rate can influence exchange rate, how departure and entry of MNCs can influence exchange rate, and at last how the changes in the rate of inflation influence the exchange rate. So throughout the lesson, keep this in mind. Understood? Okay. Now, before starting to explain the causes, the specific causes that I have mentioned in the success criteria, it will be very useful to analyze the reasons or the factors affecting demand and supply of a specific currency. So in this case, I have taken Maldivian rupiah. For example, a foreigner buying Maldivian goods and services. So if there is a changes in Maldivian export, there will be a changes in demand for Maldivian rupiah. If more people buy Maldivian goods, they will have to demand Maldivian rupiah. Foreign-based Maldivian MNCs or investments send in profits back to Maldives. That also will influence the demand for Maldivian rupiah. Remember, here I am showing only the factors affecting demand for Maldivian rupiah. Always keep this in mind. Third, foreign firms pay dividends on shares held by Maldivian residents. So Maldivians who might have bought shares in foreign countries will be getting their return in the form of dividends. That can also influence demand for Maldivian rupiah. Next, foreigners saving in Maldivian banks. That's also an inflow. So in order to save, they have to demand our currency. Foreign firms wishing to buy Maldivian investment set up in the Maldives. So if there is an increase in investment in the Maldives, there will also be an inflow of currencies, and those people will be demanding using our Maldivian rupiah. And at last, speculators buy in MVR. that means Maldivian rupiah, in the expectation that the value will rise in the future. So, what is speculators? Who are the speculators, and what is speculations? I will be explaining to you later in this lesson. So that's all about the factors affecting demand for a particular currency. In this case, it's demand for Maldivian rupiah. Now next, I will be highlighting some factors that can influence supply of Maldivian rupiah. Why a supply of Maldivian rupiah can be affected. For example, Maldivian buying foreign goods and service, that is imports. So if you spend more on buying imports, that means we are supplying more of our currencies to abroad. Foreign MNC based in Maldives send in profits back to their home country. That is also influencing supply of Maldivian rupiah. Maldivian banks sell in currencies on behalf of their customers and pay in interest on money held by foreigners. So if the Maldivian banks pays money to foreigners, that is actually influencing supply of Maldivian rupiah. Foreigners working in Maldives send in money to their home. Foreigners who are working in the Maldives, for example, teachers, doctors, nurses, they are sending their wages back to their home. That is also influencing the supply of Maldivian rupiah. Maldivian wishing to buy foreign firms setting units in other countries. If Maldivian wants to spend their money in other countries, that is also influencing supply. And at last, regarding our speculations, speculators selling Maldivian rupiah because they expect the value of Maldivian rupiah to fall. So this speculation practice is influencing the supply of Maldivian rupiah. Understood? Okay. Now, so these diagrams have been discussed in the past lessons, but I just want to share with you because this is very much related to the factors or the points that I am going to explain. Because in the exam, you have to use these kind of diagrams in the answers. I am just explaining the causes of exchange rate fluctuations, but you need to use these diagrams and examples in the exam to get the maximum marks. For example, you should know by now that increase in demand for specific currency can increase the value of the currency. A decrease in demand of a specific currency can decrease the value of the currency. So when demand increases, it's called appreciation. When demand decreases, it's called depreciation. Same way, if there is an increasing supply, or if when the supply increases for a specific currency, the currency value falls, and if there is a decrease in the supply of a specific currency, the value of the currency increase. That's called appreciation. So I just want to talk about this in this lesson because this will be really useful when you write the answers in the exam. Understood? Okay, let's start the real causes of exchange rate fluctuations. Number one, changes in demand for export. For example, if there is an increase in demand for export, more people will buy that particular currency. More exports means more demand for goods. So more demand for goods means there will be more demand for the currency as well. So that could lead to appreciation of the currency. So fluctuation in exchange rate means there is a change. The exchange rate can fluctuate in two ways. Either it can rise or it can fall. So these causes actually, I am showing how you can analyze these causes nicely using these steps so that you find easy to write the answers in the exam. So Increase in demand for export leads to appreciation of the currency. Now you think, what will happen if there is a decrease in demand for exports? Think about, if increase in demand cause currency to appreciate, decrease in demand for exports will lead to currency depreciation. Very good. Okay, let's move. Now the next one is changes in demand for imports. For example, if there is an increase in demand for imports of a particular country, what will happen? More people sell currencies to buy imports. That means more imports means more money is going out of the country. That means increase in the supply of the currency. That leads to depreciation. So when demand for import increases, currency depreciates. Now you think, what will happen when the demand for imports fall? Think about it. When demand for imports fall, what will happen? The currency will appreciate. Next, speculative buying and selling. Okay, now if the speculators think that the currency value will rise in future, what will happen? Their behavior. Now see, the speculators are those people who trade foreign currencies in the foreign exchange market in order to get profit. So if they think that the currency value will rise in the future, they will buy more of that currency now. And if they buy more now, the demand for that currency will increase. So same way, if demand for a particular currency increases, the currency value also will rise. That's called appreciation. Now you think, what will happen if speculators think that the currency value will fall in future? If they think that the currency value will rise in future, which will cause appreciation, then this will cause depreciation. Now I'm going to show this using a numerical example. Okay, please look at very carefully. Okay, for example, assume that the exchange rate is $1 equals 15.42 Maldivian rupiah. Okay, now the speculators, those people who trade in foreign exchange market, they feel that the value of Maldivian rupiah may rise in the future. So now you should know that when the value of Maldivian rupiah rise, it will change from 15.42 to 13. That is actually rise in Maldivian rupiah. Now what will happen? They will buy Maldivian rupiah. For example, they might spend 1,000 MVR. They might spend $1,000 to buy Maldivian rupiah. How much they will get? When the exchange rate is 15.42, they will get 15,420. After that, what will happen? They will sell this 15,420 when the exchange rate changes to $1 equal 13. Now, with that 15,420, they will be able to get $1,187. So see how $1,000 has changed to $1,187. Now what happened? They got a profit of $187. This is a simple example of how actually the speculation works. I hope you understood. Moving on. Entry of MNCs. MNCs are actually multinational corporations. So if multinational corporations or the foreign investment enter into the country, there will be more buying of capital goods, which will increase the demand for Maldivian rupiah, which will increase the demand for a specific currency, leading to currency appreciation. Now you can think, what will happen when if an MNC leaves? Just the opposite will happen. If an entry of MNC cause appreciation of a currency, a departure of an MNC will cause a depreciation of a currency. Next, changes in the rate of interest. So in interest, you have to think about that there are interest on savings and interest on loans. So first I will explain the interest on savings. For example, if there is an increase in the interest on savings, there will be more buying of that currency, because when the interest rates are high, people will be willing to save more. So there will be hot money flows into the country. So these terms are very important. So this can increase demand for that particular currency, leading to appreciation. So now what will happen if the saving interest rate falls? Yes, currency will depreciate because a saving will fall. Now, it's very important. Just now I just told you about the hot money flows. These important key terms are actually given in your textbook. If you can now also check page number 353, very useful one. Textbook includes a lot more information actually in these terms. Please go through it. Okay. The next one, if there is a changes in the rate of interest on loan, for example, just now I discussed about the changes in the rate of interest on saving. Now this time about the loan. If loan interest increases, cost of borrowing rises. So there will be less borrowing and less investment, leading to a fall in demand for the currency. So this could lead depreciation. Therefore, what will happen if the loan interest rate fall? There will be more investment because there will be more borrowings that could lead to a rising value of the particular currency. Okay, this is the last cause. Actually, changes in inflation rate. Inflation is actually a persistent rise in the general price level of goods and service. If goods and service become expensive, there will be less purchasing power. So demand for currency falls. That leads depreciation. So what will happen if inflation rate falls? There will be more demand for the goods and service, and as a result, more demand for currency, leading to currency appreciation. So that's all the explanation of the specific causes of exchange rate fluctuations. Once again, we have already discussed about how changes in demand for import and export, changes in interest rate, changes in departure and entry of MNCs, how speculative buying and selling and other factors such as changes in the rate of inflation rate can influence exchange rate. Okay, for assessment, the world demand for oil is price inelastic and oil is paid in US dollar. If the price of oil falls rapidly, how might it affect the exchange rate of US dollar? Just think for a while. If oil becomes cheaper, there will be more demand for oil. So market for US dollar, there will be a greater demand for US dollar, because when something is cheap, people will consume that more. So what will happen to the exchange rate? When demand increases, the value also will increase. So A is the answer for this question. And the next one, I'm not going to explain. I'm going to leave for you, because this is just an assessment I just include in order to check how much you have understood the exchange rate. So you can just go to this link or scan the QR code, and you will get a Google form to answer these questions. I hope I will be getting a lot of responses from you all. That's all, my dear students. Thank you so much. Please be at your home and wash your hand. Be safe always. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.